Author opinion of Dennis Keane at the history, geography and architecture, culture and life manners of Kazakhs in the program Discovering Kazakhstan.
Salam, привет, and hello. I'm Dennis Keane, and today on Discovering Kazakhstan, we're discovering the cultural programs that have been built around Expo 2017, a world fair that's come to this country's capital of Astana. People are converging on this steppe city from around the world to learn about alternative energy. But meanwhile, Kazakhs are keen to show off their rich culture. So come along with us as we explore some of these concerts, festivals, museum exhibits, and more. Outside of the expo itself, there is no more exciting place to be right now in Astana than the Ethno Aul. An aul is a kind of traditional Kazakh yurt camp. So here, groups have come from all around Kazakhstan to set up their tents and show off the arts and crafts that make them proud. I'd say the biggest concentration of fun and smiles is here in the Alta Bakan corridor. Alta Bakans are these traditional Kazakh swings. You have these long planks. On one side, a young lady. On the other, a young man. They should swing back and forth, gazing into each other's eyes, and maybe there'll be a spark of romance. All around the cultural village, there are these installations showing off symbols of Kazakh culture, the camels and the eagle hunters. But by far the coolest is this throne where you can sit and be Khan for a day. I am a big fan of Kazakh folk music, so I was overjoyed to find this special yurt full of traditional instruments. All along the wall here, we have different examples of the most famous Kazakh instrument of all, the dombra, this two-stringed, long-necked lute. But we have other varieties as well. Not a lot of people have heard this kind of zither that they call a zhetigen. You place this on your lap, and it makes this very, very sweet sound by plucking it like that. These little things that are holding up the strings would traditionally have been ankle bones from sheep. It was a very ancient, rudimentary instrument, but it creates the sweetest of tones. A variety on the dombra, which has 3 strings instead of 2, is called the shirter. And it's got a kind of deeper sound in this case. This is our dombra here in the middle. This is the kobuz, kind of horse-haired instrument that is played with a bow, often said to be the predecessor of the cello. It has a haunting sound, and with all this kind of metal and ornament on here, it would be used to fend off evil spirits, often used by shamans to transport themselves to the spirit world. But there's one instrument here that I was really overjoyed to see, because you really don't see it in your average Kazakh music store. In fact, it's pretty much exclusively used by Kazakh orchestras. It's a kind of Western modern invention, an adaptation of a Kazakh instrument that's been made into a bass. Of course, every orchestra needs to have some bass instrument, but Kazakh instruments tend to be on the higher side. So they totally invented this instrument during the Soviet period, and it sounds like a cool bass, but the Kazakh style. If you've been having problems at home with your out-of-control horse, then you can come to this here and buy a horse whip. This is a traditional Kazakh art form of making these horse whips out of leather and metal and rope. You can see this young man here is hammering away at some of that steel to put in that traditional Kazakh ornament. His friend nearby, meanwhile, is taking some water and soap and rubbing it on this felt. Felt is that fur from sheep. So they're taking that felt and using this water and soap, they're getting these fibers to stick together to make this kind of felt scarves, felt carpets, all sorts of felt apparel, all the way up to these cute little felt apples. It's been a lot of fun exploring the craft fair that they've set up at the cultural village here, and we've seen such a wide variety of textiles, using everything from felt to thread. But at the end of the day, a lot of these textiles share a lot in common with other global forms of textile arts. I was looking for something that's really special, something that you can only really find in Kazakh culture, and I found that with sheep. Look at this mat. It's just beautiful. But it's made with a very specific ingredient, this kind of reed cane. The reed cane is called shi in Kazakh, and so is the mat. And the way it's done is they take the reed and they wrap this sheep fur around it deliberately over and over and over again, alternating different colors. Here we have brown, orange, some green. And the final product, when you put all of these reeds together, is this beautiful furry mat that's used to decorate the inside of a Kazakh yurt. What's special about Kazakhstan is just how diverse it is. Ethnic groups came from all around the Soviet Union here, and now it's really this mishmash of different groups. And here in one part of the ethno-aul, they have a variety of little homes representing those cultures. So here you can see a house made of carved wood representing Russian culture. Here one with a hay roof representing the Ukrainians. We even have a German-style beer hall over here in one corner. Some ethnic groups are a little bit more surprising. On one side over here, we have a Korean-style pagoda. Some kind of brick structure representing the peoples of the Caucasus with their grape leaves all around. After all, these people are famous for their wine. So these different groups have brought their drinks and their foods, their cuisines to Kazakhstan. And here, inside of these homes, are little restaurants where you can sample each of those for yourself. Every culture has its own methods to defeating boredom, and Kazakhs have a variety of traditional games and sports. Here they're playing a game with these little sheep ankle bones that are called asuk. This is one variety of asuk sport that's called bestaban, which means 5 steps. So these masters are taking, the precision that's needed here is crazy. The players take the bones and throw them like darts right into the middle of the circle, trying to knock the other bones there out of the ring. If a bone is knocked out of the center but isn't expelled from the ring, the judge can walk 5 steps to determine where the player can fling from next. Over here, these kids are playing a variety of Kazakh game that's also using the asuk. And here it seems like it's kind of a version of what we would call jacks, where you're throwing something up in the air and then you're trying to catch it while it's suspended. Well, so first, while I'm throwing up one, I'm trying to pick up another one. Shoot, it's not as easy as they make it look. Sorry, buddy. But if I sit here all afternoon, maybe I'll get better and better. Opa. Oh, this is so cool. This is like a Kazakh version of hacky sack. They have this little wadded up piece of sheep fur that they're kicking in the air. You just kick it like this, you get 1 point. If you kick it backward like this, you get 5 points. And they're trying to see how long they can keep it up in the air. Here is the ring where young Kazakh bucks prove their masculinity with the traditional sport of Kazakh wrestling called Kazakh Games. This test of brawn and might has been practiced for centuries by wrestlers called baluwans. Rules used to differ from region to region, but they've been standardized since the Soviet period. The goal of Kazakh Games is to get your opponent's shoulder blades to touch the ground by tilting him off balance. But fighters can only trip each other with their legs. Grabbing your opponent below the belt is not allowed. There's also no grappling on the ground. Once you're down, that's it. Which means that it's mostly just a lot of amazing flips instead of hugs and grunts. I'd like to introduce you to Arzu and Akhtis, two of the most beautiful dogs I've ever seen, because this is a Kazakh breed called Kazı. These dogs were traditionally used for Kazakh hunting. You would go out onto the steppe with your eagle and your hunting dog. Your eagle would be up at the top of the mountain, whilst these dogs would be running down below, flushing out the prey. So they have brilliant senses of smell, they've got brilliant speed, and they're absolutely fearless. They're famous for taking down even wolves. And it helps that they're super cute too. Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for walking with me. It wouldn't be a Kazakh cultural village, though, without the famous eagle hunters. This is something that Kazakhs are famous for all around the world, is their tradition of capturing, training, and hunting with these beautiful golden eagles. This is a bird of some serious heft. It takes some effort just to keep him here on my wrist. So you can imagine just how brave these guys that go out into the countryside, climb mountains with these birds, and hunt foxes, rabbits, and even young wolves. Beautiful creatures and a beautiful tradition. These guys are so tall that it wouldn't even be easy to flip my foot over their back. So I got to climb a staircase to hop on the camel. They say, jump, jump, oh! Well, I've got to say, it's the comfiest creature in the world to ride. They call it the ships of the desert for a reason here, because you can cruise through the steppe, cruise through the desert in absolute comfort. In traditional Kazakh fashion, we're setting up a caravan. After all, this is how people traveled along the Silk Road for centuries, how they moved from pasture to pasture by stringing one camel to another and moving through the steppe. As nomads, Kazakhs treasure their horses above all else. So it's no surprise that one of their most beloved sports is horse racing. In honor of Expo 2017, we're here for a day at the races, watching a long-distance horse race called Bayga. Hundreds have gathered in the stands to watch the horses go around the track. Each horse is being ridden by a young boy, and each boy has been dreaming and dreaming to win the final prize, what they call the Expo 2017 President's Cup. And here they come down the track. Let's watch them and cheer them on. Woohoo! The crowd is getting worked up because the horses are coming down the final stretch. After 25 kilometers, they're gonna cross the finish line right here. Here they're coming in. The guy is waving his horse whip. Yeah! And he hugs his horse in gratitude. What a beautiful finish. What endurance, what strength from these horses, and what bravery from these young men. Housed in a stunning building, its facade a mix of traditional ornaments and modern glass, the National Museum of Kazakhstan opened up a few years ago and quickly became a center of cultural life in Astana. With the coming of Expo, its status has only grown, as several special exhibits have opened to coincide this one-of-a-kind event. Entering the grand foyer, you're immediately struck by the scale of it all. On your left-hand side, projected in light, a map of Kazakhstan in all its massive glory. And to the right of the hall, paintings of breathtaking size showing leaders of the past and the modern-day president, Nursultan Nazarbayev. And soaring above, the mythological eagle named Samaruk, her body formed from amber globes suspended from the ceiling, every talon the size of a knife, ready to defend her golden egg. Expo 2017 is all about bringing the world together, and Kazakhstan has a long history of serving as a bridge between different cultures. After all, the legendary Silk Road ran from China through Kazakhstan before going on to Europe, and it was this legendary trade route that served as a conduit of people, goods, and ideas. To commemorate the old Silk Road and the creation of a new one, the government of China has loaned some of its most precious treasures to the State Museum, the terracotta warriors. The discovery in 1974 of an underground vault with thousands of terracotta warriors, horses, and chariots was an international sensation. And this terracotta army has since become a globally recognized symbol of China's ancient past. But until now, if you wanted to see these stone sculptures, you had to go to the ancient capital of Xi'an itself. With this traveling exhibit, people from all over the world can come to Astana for a once-in-a-lifetime experience. The exhibition does a great job at introducing the story of the terracotta warriors to an audience that may not be familiar with Chinese history. We begin by meeting Emperor Qin, the first emperor of China. Emperor Qin is now revered for founding Chinese civilization, and the faux warriors were buried to protect him in the afterlife. If you're anything like me, you'll be anxious to finally catch a glimpse of those iconic warriors. But don't rush through the other exhibits because there is so much else to see. In one of the first halls, for example, you can see these amazing objects from the architecture and infrastructure of Emperor Qin's great cities. This unusual pentagonal drain pipe, for example, or these stamped tiles with animals and symbols and writing that would have once stood on the end of China's iconic wavering tile roofs. In another hall, you can find these gorgeous exemplars of gold and silver metalwork. But this jewelry is not for people, it's for horses. The emperor was buried with hundreds of bronze chariots, and the horses were decked out in beautiful yokes and halters. Here in this exhibit, you can see this amazing decoration close up. In another corner, you can find a fascinating display of Qin Dynasty pottery. If you've ever been behind a pottery wheel, you know just how hard it is to create anything of beauty without it falling apart into clumps of wet clay. So to see these firsthand, these objects crafted by craftsmen with such size and subtlety is really an enchanting thing to experience. In the final hall, you see them at last. 4 solemn soldiers, separated from their brethren in Xi'an, but seemingly enjoying their stay here in a new museum with a new audience, celebrating Expo 2017 in Astana with the rest of the world.
Though there are just 4 soldiers here out of the thousands in Xi'an, you immediately notice one thing that makes this archaeological find so stunning. Each soldier is different. Different armor, hairstyles, and weapons tell us about the military rank of each of these ghostly fighters. Their facial expressions too are beguiling. You could spend hours in this expo exhibit trying to read their thoughts.
What's remarkable about these ambitious super events like Expo 2017 is how they're able to just breathe dreams into existence. Just a few years ago, I was here and there was nothing but the sweet smell of grass and the feel of the wind on my face. And now there's a whole city, there's pavilions, and there's a brand new theater, the Astana Ballet Theater. We've come to this beautiful new building tonight to see a special performance from Kazakhstan's most famous orchestra called Otrar Saze.
Founded in 1979, Otrar Saze was a revolution in Kazakh music. Whereas Kazakh folk instruments were traditionally played solo, their sounds subtle, here they were assembled into an orchestra, layers of sound building up into a symphonic blast. Ancient instruments that had been forgotten were rescued and revived by a researcher named Bolat Sarabayev, and new bass instruments were introduced to fill out the range of sound. The result is something extraordinary.
beautiful. It's one of my favorite songs called Aku, and it's supposed to be imitating the character of a swan. Aku in Kazakh means swan, and you can see how much the audience loved it. This kind of performance is perfect, I think, for a visitor to the expo who doesn't know much about Kazakh music, because one by one those instruments were able to have a solo. From the dobra to the klobas, you could hear the individual characters of the instruments come out. It was a virtuoso performance.
The group of around 60 musicians is being led by its virtuoso conductor in a sparkling coat, Din Zukhrat Lendiev, taking after her father Nurgisa, who was one of the founders of the orchestra and its longtime ringleader.
Well, you will never see that at an orchestral performance in the West. The entire audience up, clapping in unison. All of the soloists here, they are joining them up on the stage. It's this fun kind of family festival environment. Everybody here is having a blast. Nursultan Shadurkhanullah is the soloist, the real star of the show here at the orchestra. The operatic performance that you gave today was really impressive. The entire audience was going crazy. It was definitely something that was new for me, and I think for a lot of visitors to the expo, they're going to be amazed by the performances you put on. Most people, I think, haven't heard much Kazakh music, so can you tell us a little bit about Kazakh music and the kind of music that you're playing here?
Of course, yeah. Our orchestra is called Oturan Sazı. You know, from the symphonic orchestra is that we are using our national ancient instruments. It's like shangobuz, sastarnay, jetigen, and other drum instruments. So that is the reason from the symphony orchestra.
So here in Astana, for the expo, thousands of people are coming from all around the world. You're going to get a foreign audience here for you. Would you say that audiences in different places are different? I mean, is the Kazakh audience, on home territory different for you?
Yes, of course. Every nationality, if you will speak, for example, yesterday I met Spanish people who came from Spain. So they were like, oh, Kazakhstan, they came here first time. And I think they liked it very much. I don't know. They said to me, oh, you're so kindful people. They said a lot of different food. So, of course, every people are different, if I understand you correctly.
Right, well, what I've seen is that when it comes to the audience, the Kazakh audience is a little bit more excited, and they're clapping and they're becoming involved in music, whereas when you go to an opera in the West, for example, everybody is very polite and quiet and they're clapping like this.
You're saying about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a little bit difference between Europe, difference in West and our Central Asia. I think it's very good because when you give that energy to people and they gave you back, and it's very nice. I think it's very good for artists when he met clap like this. So it's very good for us.
I mean, it definitely made it a thrilling performance, and I think that anybody who comes to Expo, it would be a shame for them to miss Otrar Sazi. So thanks for performing today.
Thank you very much. Came here the next time.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Everybody.
As the audience flows out of the theater, feeling proud and inspired, I can't help but think that there could be no better time to be in Astana than now. There is this special energy that is buzzing in this capital city, with museum exhibits and concerts and festivals going on all around. Expo 2017 has brought a special magical atmosphere to this city on the steppe, and I'm glad that you could join us. Until next time, I'm Dennis Keene. This has been Discovering Kazakhstan. Salbol, Baka, and goodbye.